Hi guys, Toni here from Toni Reviews. This week we're going to take a look at the fitting of the Mini Heki Skylight. If you're thinking, I'm always wearing these clothes, I'm always in this hoodie, these jeans, either this hoodie or the grey hoodie, you're totally right. You know, this like a game of spot the difference. I'm literally wearing the same clothes all the time because I'm spending all my spare time in the van. So you'll always see me like this. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to do the old barnet this week. Or tidy the van up, so apologies there. But if you're interested to see how we're getting on in the camper build this week, let's take a look at fitting the Mini Heki Skylight. Let's roll the B-roll. This is the hole that I've cut in the insulation board where the skylight's going to go. Oh yeah, 4 holes drilled. So the first thing I do is pre-drill 4 sort of corner holes and measure the centre point from that to get where the frame's going to go. What I'm doing here is just testing the roof in terms of its strength because it's quite flimsy. So what I want to do is limit my movement on the roof and just stick to one area. You'll see all these like plastic lug holes. So the last thing I want to do is sort of dent the roof, which may disturb those lugs and cause a leak. So I'm sticking to one area and not moving around on the roof to avoid any sort of disturbance. Just going to re-measure now the cuts. I didn't actually film the cutting of the hole here, as you can tell, but what you do get is a nice little vision of me actually filing the hole. So yeah, quite exciting. So this process is just a sort of dry fitting to sort of see where there might be any extra little spots. So it's just a case of re-measuring the gap again before you sort of do any other cuts. And instead of taking a jigsaw to it, what I decide to opt for here is a grinder, just to take down some high spots on one of the corners. And then that sort of just takes it down minimally rather than getting the jigsaw out again.
You alright now, Lil?
Yeah, I think that might be alright. I've done it on that edge.
Yeah, that's alright. It's a lot better. Yeah.
Yep. Don't like it.
I've got it well done.
So what I decided to do here is put the ceiling panel up and then get back up on the roof and draw around the ceiling board so that I can take it back down and jigsaw out where the skylight's going to go. Yours smells like a Sky Electrics.
It works.
Hang on. This ain't done up.
That's gonna split.
How'd you undo that? How'd you do that tight in yours?
Just like that.
Oh, mine don't do that.
Yeah. Just do it as tight as you can do it.
Wondering if I should put it on the wood so it don't tear.
I wouldn't have done it with that, but Mum's just swept out.
Stick it on, slide it towards you a bit. That's it. I know I'm drilling that, but
Yeah, that'd be alright then. Yeah.
Just trying to see where I'm aiming at. Because the line. One thing we've done here is tape over the cuts that we've already cut to secure the panel, stop it shaking about, and did the same thing on the roof actually when I cut out the roof panel. As I was cutting, I was taping it, each of the corners, each of the length sides of it to secure the panel and stop it from dropping through. Right. Oh. This is just a dry fit, see it all fits up before we actually go any further. Is it like that? Ta-da! They are.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that little.
That looks good, doesn't it?
That
Beautiful.
looks the best ever.
Isn't it?
At least that bloody fits. This is the inner frame to what's going to support the skylight on the ceiling. And I'm just giving that a little rub down just to make sure that it's all fitting and it's nice and snug. Just give the area on the roof a light sand with a very light sandpaper just to give it a good key. Now I'm going to wipe down, remove any dust, any grease with panel wipe again before putting anything on the roof. Yep. So the first thing I done was put the caravan sealing tape, which is like a plasticine type consistency, to fill up the lower points and portions of the roof, just to sort of bring that level with the other parts of the roof where the skylight's going to sit. But as I'm cutting here, I'm making sure not to push too hard because I don't want to go through and score the paint underneath. So this is literally just scoring the top and prising it apart really. So what we decided to do was actually Sikaflex the internal frame to the ceiling. This was to sort of stop any water travelling should there be a leak through the skylight, so it will stop at the frame and it won't run down the van and affect any other parts of the roof. Just giving a layer of the Sika primer. So I've etched it with some sandpaper and using the Sika Primer 210, which is apparently helps the Sikaflex sealant stick to the surfaces a lot better. So yeah, just giving it a coat of that. But it's got loads of health and safety warnings with this, so you've got to be careful. But I think I'm going to put that on the roof as well. So yeah, that's that all the way around. So this is the clamps coming off the inner frame. It's had about an hour or so to dry, and as you can see, it's sort of stuck up there on its own and it's nice and sturdy now. Plus we Sikaflexed on the just around that sort of edge, like I said, so if any water did get in, it shouldn't travel and run down the van and affect any other part of the ceiling. It should just sort of go around that skylight and should be able to identify there's a leak there. So just for safety, I decided to etch the paint very slightly again and apply Sika Primer 210, which is a sort of, it helps Sika Primer stick to its surfaces a lot better. Right. Yep. So I'm using the Sikaflex 512 sealant, and I first put a bead around the roof, and I second then put a bead around the sort of beading trim area within the skylight itself. So I've got it on both areas. Look me. Yeah, I am. So give the skylight just a little squish to sort of seat it in place, but you don't want to push too hard because you don't want to squirt out all that sealant. You want to sort of squish it down to give it a nice seal and then leave it for about 15 minutes to sort of semi go off before tightening up. So now I'm getting ready to put the skylight on. I'm actually putting up the ceiling panel so that we can squish everything together in one go. The ceiling panel, as you can see on the inner frame that I built, the lugs on the Mini Heki roof light sort of are slightly proud of the frame, and so the blue inner frame that I've built, I've cut out some lug holes there for them to sit. Well, I didn't account for that when I cut out the hole in the roof panel, so we just re-jigged that afterwards. Rather than take it all down, we just did it with an air saw. Now just go round very lightly around the whole thing, don't go too hard. You want to put an even pressure around the whole frame before you tighten them all up. Now I'm just tidying the Sikaflex, just running a finger. I've used that beading tool, just sort of get a nice little seal. You don't want anything that could allow water to sit. That's the idea really, or that was the idea for me. I know a lot of people talk about it being tidy and all that sort of stuff, but the main thing really is you want to get a nice seal to stop any water sort of pooling. You want it to run off, so that's the idea behind this. Right, moment of truth for the skylight. Don't know what way does it go. Is it that way, or no? It's that way. I think it's on that, and I think it just pushes up, clips in. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's it. And then I think you can. Yep. So with all that talk of the skylight, I just thought it'd be nice for you to see the actual skylight. So this is it. It's got a few positions. You've got position 1, which is a little bit open. You've got position 2, which is a little bit open even more. And then you've got position 3, which is like right up in the air going sailing. So yeah, that is the skylight. It just closes by pushing that little button in, which it sort of does on its own when you push it up because it's sort of tapered. You've got the fly net, which is nice if you want to have it open and stop the flies getting in. And then you've got the blackout blind, which is this sort of creamy coloured thing, which is sort of silver foiled on the back to sort of, again, keep the heat out and be completely sort of blacked out, which is nice. So there you go, a little tour of the Mini Heki light in action. So if you're thinking there was a little bit of a different format to that one, that's because there was loads of sort of odd bits of talking going on in the background. When I'm around my family, it's very difficult to sort of do this, you know, talking to camera business. They just don't get it and they think I'm going crazy. So it's difficult for me to pull the camera out and start doing a piece to camera. Hence why it's just generic rambling and talking, and I've overlaid a soundtrack and a voiceover on some of the parts just to explain what's going on, and then I can talk to you guys when I get you on the one-to-one in the van on our own. Anyway, so that's that part. If you haven't yet checked out the Let Us Live website, don't forget, go to letuslive.co.uk and use Toni Reviews at checkout to get a small discount there. If you're into motorcycles or adventure of any kind, there's definitely something there that will float your boat, I'm sure. Last but not least, one thing I forgot to mention, when I cut the hole, which wasn't in the footage, I did seal the raw metal with some paint. I just didn't film that, like I didn't film the cutting out of the hole either, unfortunately. But that is one thing that I just need to mention. If you are going to make any cuts in the metal of the van, you always need to protect it against rust with some paint and stuff. So just make sure you're going to do that as well. So last but not least, I hope you found it helpful. I hope you're finding these camper build series videos interesting, insightful. and all the other things that begin with I. One thing I do just want to say is I apologise for the sporadic nature in these videos coming out. That's just down to time, me, you know, spending all my time in the van, having to go through the footage, edit it, put it in sort of some sort of chronological order, you know, do the sort of voiceovers if need be and all the rest of it, all in the same time as trying to actually do the van build. So it is quite difficult, but my apologies that they're a little bit sporadic, but I hope you are enjoying it. And in the meantime, safe riding, safe driving, safe adventures, and I'll see you all very soon.